is Dr. V. Anitha Rani, Associate Professor of Chemistry from Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. So in the previous class, we have discussed about water pollution and air pollution, and we are going to discuss about in environmental pollution, soil pollution and noise pollution. So the contents we are going to discuss in soil pollution, causes of soil pollution, effects of soil pollution, control measures of soil pollution. And in noise pollution, causes of noise pollution and what are the effects of noise pollution and how to control the noise pollution. Soil pollution, so we can observe in this diagram. So on the land, okay, so the people are throwing the waste and the soil is polluted. So soil pollution is how it occurs is, so because of the contaminants, so that is present on the top layer of the soil. The contaminants, the pollutants on the top layer of the soil, so that leads to the soil pollution. So soil is the upper layer of the earth crust, which is formed by weathering of rocks, and here the waste will be, that is domestic waste and industrial waste causes soil pollution. Domestic waste and industrial waste causes soil pollution. So domestic waste include garbage, rubbish material like glass, plastics, metallic cans, paper, fibers, cloth materials, containers, paints and varnishes. So domestic waste will be mostly garbage and rubbish materials like glass, plastics, metallic cans, papers, fibers. And industrial waste are the effluents discharged from chemical industries. Industrial waste are the effluents discharged from chemical industries, and we can take paper industry and textile industry, steel industries and food processing industries, cement industries, thermal and nuclear power plants, mining industries. So from all these industries, so the effluents are discharged, they are coming out from that industries, and that leads to the soil pollution. So domestic waste like a garbage, it is coming out, means we are throwing the waste on the soil and leads to soil pollution. And from different kind of industries, so they are throwing the waste, okay, the waste is coming out from the industries, different industries, and leading to the soil pollution. So in this diagram we can see the domestic waste, garbage and the industries. From different industries we are getting the effluents, they are discharged on the top layer, on the top of the soil, and leads to the soil pollution. So effluents discharged from the industries, and this domestic waste, so that is garbage, it is we are throwing on the top layer of the soil and leads to the soil pollution. So what are the effects of soil pollution? Sewage and industrial effluents which pollute the soil ultimately affect the human health. It affects the human health. So various types of the chemicals like acids, alkalis, pesticides, insecticides, weedicides, fungicides, heavy metals, etc. in the industrial discharges affect soil fertility by causing changes in physical, chemical and biological properties. So what are the effluents coming out of the industries is acids, alkalis, pesticides, insecticides, fungicides and heavy metals. All these are affecting the soil fertility, and here when the soil fertility is lost and we are not getting the enough crop production, so that leads to the, so here we are not getting enough food, and we are not because of the soil loss of the soil fertility, because it leads to the soil pollution. And we can take this toxic chemicals. So the toxic chemicals also affecting the plants and animals. plants and animals. So because of this soil pollution, means the toxic chemicals in the soil, so that is affecting the plants, like decreasing the crop production, and also it is affecting the animals also, because that plants are eaten by the animals, and for that animals also it is affected, means the animals they are also health of the animals also affected by the soil pollution. So these chemicals, the toxic chemicals, accumulate in the food chain. So for example, we are eating the rice. We are eating the rice, and or we are eating the here fish. We are eating the fish. So here when we are eating the rice, okay, so that is we are getting from a paddy field. So the toxic chemicals in the paddy field, okay, so that it will go into the rice plant. So that rice we are taking after getting the rice. So that rice we are eating. So it is coming like a food chain. Because of the soil pollution. So because we are eating the plants, okay, so that is coming from plants to the human beings. So in the same way, from the animals. So the plants which are eaten by animals. So from the plants, the toxic chemicals are going into the body of the animals and affecting the health of the animals. So at the same way, affecting the health of the human beings. So these chemicals accumulate in the food chain, and ultimately affecting the finally health of the human beings. And we can see in this diagram the soil pollution. So because of the soil fertility is loss of soil fertility. So the plant growth, there is no plant growth here. Soil pollution, loss of soil fertility, so there will be here no plant production, no plant growth in the soil. Sewage sludge, many types of pathogenic bacteria, viruses and intestinal worms which may cause various types of diseases. Okay, the sewage, which means waste, the food waste, okay, which we are throwing on the top of the soil, it is containing bacteria, virus and intestinal worms which may cause various types of the diseases. So decomposing organic matter in soil, so this produces toxic vapors. So that is also not good for the health of the human beings. So radioactive fallout on vegetation is the source of radioisotopes which enter the food chain in the grazing animals. So some of these radioisotopes replace essential elements in the body and cause abnormalities. For example, strontium 90 instead of calcium gets deposited in the bones and tissue. So the bones become brittle and prone to fracture. Means in our body, instead of calcium, so what is there instead of calcium in the body? Strontium 90 is there. So that is a radioactive element. So from the soil, so we here when we are eating plants, okay, so when we are eating animals, so that strontium 90 it is entering in our body, okay. So instead of calcium, it gets deposited in our body, okay, strontium 90. So when strontium 90 is there in our body, that element, so what is the cause we are getting here? It is we are getting is that our bones become brittle, easily breakable. Brittle means breaking. So bones become brittle and it prone to fracture. So the radioisotopes which attach with the clay become source of radiations in the environment. So chemicals or their degradation product from the soil may percolate and contaminate groundwater resources. Not only we are affecting here the groundwater also, it is polluted because of these radioactive isotopes, radioactive elements present in the soil. So from where we are getting radioactive elements? So we are having different industries. We are having different industries. Where we use the radioactive elements means we will use in nuclear power plants for power production. So if effluents are going from that industry into the soil, so that from that soil, the radioactive element, it goes into the underground water, so that water is polluted. So if we are eating from that soil, if any crop production is there, if we are eating that plants, if we are eating that rice or any other food, okay, that is contaminated with the strontium 90, so that is entering our body and our bones are becoming very weak. So next one. So we discussed about one element, strontium 90, and next nitrogen and phosphorus. It form, these are fertilizers. Nitrogen and phosphorus, we use fertilizers in the soil, in the agricultural field for a good crop production. So when we are using these fertilizers, okay, so these fertilizers are having nitrogen and phosphorus. So that elements will be in the soil only, in the top layer of the soil. So when the rainfall comes, when the rainfall is there, so all these nitrogen and phosphorus, it comes along with the rainwater to the river, along with the rainwater to the here lake, ocean. Okay, so nitrogen and phosphorus from the fertilizers in soil reach nearby water bodies with agricultural runoff and cause eutrophication. So we can see very clearly in this diagram, eutrophication. Eutrophication is nothing but we can see, so this green layer on the water, the green layer on the water is called, so what is the green layer? The green layer formed on the water, so that is called eutrophication. The green layer formed on the surface of the water, so that is called on the surface of water, that is called eutrophication. So we can see in this diagram how eutrophication process is taking place. So what is happening in the first stage is the nutrients means which are present in the soil, nitrogen and phosphorus. So it is entering into the water bodies when the rain comes. So when the nutrients are there in the water bodies, we can see in the diagram very clearly. So the nutrients are entering into the water bodies, nitrogen and phosphorus. And next stage, plant flourish. So what happens here? These pollutants, nitrogen and phosphorus, cause aquatic plant growth of algae. So here what is happening? Growth of the algae is taking place. Growth of the here aquatic plant growth, cause the aquatic plant growth of algae and duckweed also and other plants. So next one here, algae. So we can see the algae blooms. Growth of the algae, we can see it is forming like a algae layer. It is called algae layer, a green layer on the surface of the water. The green layer formed on the surface of the water. Nothing but here growth of the algae is taking place. So when growth of the algae is taking place, oxygen is depleted. Oxygen level in the water is decreasing. That is depleted. So algae blooms and oxygen is depleted here, preventing the sunlight reaching the other plants present in the water. So when the sunlight falls on the water, on the lake, on the river, so these plants which are there in the water bodies, which are there in the river, that plants cannot go take the sunlight. So they cannot go the process photosynthesis. So that plants cannot grow. Why means? Because this algae, the growth of the algae, it is forming like a green layer on the surface of the water. So we can see the third stage, algae blooms and oxygen depleted and also preventing the sunlight reaching the other plants. So the plant dies, the plants which are there in the water bodies, the plant dies and oxygen in the water is depleted. So the oxygen levels will be decreases. decreases. So decomposition, so after the plant dies, what happens? Immediately the plant it undergo decomposition by the microorganisms. So decomposition further it depletes oxygen, means oxygen level be decreasing here. So the dead plants are broken down by bacteria decomposers, and using up even more oxygen in the water. So after the plant decay, immediately the plant decomposes by bacteria present in the water. So then what happens means, slowly the oxygen level again it is decreasing. The oxygen level will be decreasing in the water. Okay, how means, because this bacteria is decomposing, a plant decay it is taking, okay, in the presence of oxygen, means it is taking the oxygen and decomposing the plant, decomposing the dead plant. So in that way the oxygen level is decreasing. The oxygen level is decreasing in water bodies. So the death of the ecosystem, okay, oxygen level here reaches the point where no life is possible. So when no oxygen level in the water body, no oxygen level or very less oxygen level in the water bodies, it leads to the death of the living organisms in water bodies. So what are the living organisms in water bodies? So we will hear only fish is there, shark is there, but there are so many living organisms will be there: starfish, octopus, tortoise. So many living organisms will be there here, living in the water bodies. All that living organisms, it will die. Why it will die? Because of there is no enough DO level in the dissolved oxygen level in the water bodies. So this process is called eutrophication. How eutrophication is there here? The green layer formed on the top of the water bodies means because of the nitrogen and phosphorus. So that is entering into the water bodies by when the rainfall is there from the soil. From the soil, the nitrogen, phosphorus entering into the water bodies. So fertilizer related problems are there in the soil. So one is micronutrient imbalance. Most of the chemical fertilizers used in modern agriculture have nitrogen and phosphorus and potassium, which are essential macronutrients. So all these nutrients are needed for crop growth, for growth of the plants. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, which are essential macronutrients. So farmers usually use these fertilizers to boost up crop growth. So excessive use of fertilizers cause micronutrient imbalance. So micronutrients also, it is useful for the plants. Not only macronutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, micronutrients also, it is useful for the plants. But here what is happening? Because we are using excessive fertilizers, macronutrients, it causes the micronutrient imbalance. So there should be here enough macronutrients and micronutrients should be there in the soil so that we get a plant growth of the plant, okay, and soil fertility will be good. For example, excessive fertilizer used in Punjab and Haryana has caused deficiency of the micronutrient zinc in the soil. So when we take that soils, the area, okay, here Punjab and Haryana place where there one problem is there, deficiency in the soil. So there is no here very less percentage of the micronutrient zinc, that is zinc in the soil, which is affecting the productivity of the soil. Means we are not getting the enough growth of the plant. If we are getting enough growth of the plant also, if essential nutrients are not there, so we are not getting all balanced nutrients in the balanced nutrients in the soil, and that we are not able to give for the plant's growth, Next, nitrate pollution. Nitrate pollution. So nitrogenous fertilizers applied in the fields often leach deep into the soil and ultimately contaminate the groundwater. So the nitrogenous fertilizers when we are using in the soil for crop production, so that nitrogenous fertilizers, nitrates, it is entering into the deep into the soil and it is contaminating the groundwater. So the nitrates get concentrated in the water, and when their concentration exceeds 25 milligram per liter, they become the cause of the serious health hazard called blue baby syndrome. Blue baby syndrome. So when the nitrate level is that is exceeds 25 milligram per liter, so that is leading to the disease blue baby syndrome. So already this we discussed in water pollution about blue baby syndrome. So when nitrate level is 25 milligram per liter, more than that in water, if you are drinking that water, okay, so that leads to the blue baby syndrome. Blue baby syndrome. And here this disease affects the infants. Mostly blue baby syndrome, it is affected to the infants to the maximum extent, so that is causing even to the death of the child. So in Denmark, England, France, Germany and Netherlands, this problem has been faced frequently. So where frequently we are getting blue baby syndrome means all these we can take the countries Denmark, England, France, Germany and Netherlands. Means what we can think now, in that places that water bodies are containing more percentage or more concentration of the nitrates. Means their farmers are using in their agricultural field, they are using more fertilizers containing nitrogen and phosphorus. In India also, problem of nitrate pollution that is existing, means it is increasing. In India also, we are getting this nitrate pollution. Means we are getting the blue baby syndrome. Slowly in our India also, we are getting this pollution. So this cause we are also suffering nowadays. So in this diagram we can see the child, the baby we can see. So how we can see that a particular baby is getting blue baby syndrome means, see, we can see blue skin. The skin color change to the blue, and eyes also we can see lethargic eyes, and lips also we can see it is turned into blue color. So nitrate pollution, here we can see in this diagram how this chemical, the nitrogenous chemicals that is entering into the soil, deep into the soil, and that is entering into the water bodies, okay, and causing to the blue baby syndrome. So already we discussed about eutrophication. Previously we discussed very clearly how that green layer is formed on the surface of the water. So we discussed about eutrophication because we are using excessive nitrogenous and phosphorus fertilizers, and it is leading to the formation of green layer on the surface of the water, so which is blocking the sunlight that is entering into the water bodies. Sunlight is not entering into the water bodies, so death of the plant is taking place. So that is decomposed by microorganisms. Slowly it leading to the decreasing the level of the oxygen in the water. So it leads to the death of the living organisms present in that is living in the water. So what is here means EU eutrophication. So the letters EU means more. Trophic means, the meaning is trophic means nutrition, more nutrition. So the name given eutrophication. Eutrophication means nothing but more nutrition in water. More nutrition means nitrogen and phosphorus. The concentration of nitrogen and phosphorus, it is more in water. So here we can understand, we can see in this diagram how death of the living organism, that is we can see in this diagram the fish, it is dead because of the eutrophication. So we understood now how this process is taking place. So now, how to control the soil pollution? So the effluents should be properly treated before discharging them on the soil. So simply we are throwing the waste rubbish on the soil. So we should not throw the waste on the soil. So proper treatment should be given. So we have to treat properly the waste. So we have to separate the waste. Okay, wet waste, dry waste, like that we have to separate. And we have to go for, if any recycling process is there, we can do that process. So we can prevent the soil pollution. So solid waste should be properly collected and disposed of by the appropriate method. And from the waste, recovery of useful product should be done. We can go for recycling process. And biodegradable organic waste should be used for generation of the biogas. So we can take the organic waste, food waste, we can produce the biogas. And cattle dung should be used for methane generation. We can generate the methane. And microbial degradation of biodegradable substances is also one of the scientific approach for reducing soil pollution. So first of all, we understood now how to control the soil pollution is we have to separate the here dry waste, wet waste, and we can go for recycling process also, and also we can go for biodegradable organic waste. We can take the waste and we can go for generation of biogas, and we can go for generation of methane. We can produce the methane. Okay, so in that way we can control the soil pollution. So now next is noise pollution. So we hear various types of the sounds every day. Various types of sounds every day. Sound is mechanical energy from a vibrating source. From a vibrating source. A type of sound may be pleasant to someone and at the same time unpleasant to others. Some people can hear loud sound. They will enjoy. But for some people, they won't feel. Okay. So a type of sound may be pleasant to someone and at the same time unpleasant to others. The unpleasant and unwanted sound is called noise. Unpleasant and unwanted sound is called noise. So here what we are using that is sounds. Okay, so that should be, we have to maintain the decibels. So how much sound we have to hear, that only we have to maintain. So there is a wide range of sound pressures which encounter human ear. So increase in sound pressure does not invoke linear response of human ear. So here we have to take how much sound we have to, how many decibel sound we can hear. So that only we have to maintain. So the noise instruments are expressed as a sound pressure level, which is a logarithmic ratio of the sound pressure to a reference pressure. So it is a reference pressure of 2 into 10 power minus 5. Okay. Here is the average threshold of hearing for human ear because of its loudness and frequency. Okay. The main source of noise are various modes of transportation like air transportation, road transportation, rail transportation. So because of air transportation, road transportation, rail transportation, so we are getting noise pollution. And also industrial operations, construction activities and celebrations. Okay, so due to construction activities and celebrations like social and religious functions and elections and electric home appliances. All these are sources of noise pollution. So mainly transportation, then we can take industrial operation, construction activities and celebrations and electric home appliances. So we can see here, we can see in the diagram household sources. We will use the mixie in the house, and we will clean our floor using the machines. And social events we can see in the diagram, and commercial and here construction, building construction and transportation. All these will leads to the noise pollution. So in this diagram we can see ambulance sound, for example aeroplane, and here vehicles and sound. Okay, what we are using, sound box, and some music instruments. So all these are leading to the sound pollution. All these are sources of noise pollution. So what are the effects of noise pollution? We know the sources of noise pollution. So I said already, transportation and construction activities, celebrations, and here electric home appliances. So what are the effects of noise pollution? So noise here it will cause the human beings are affected here because of the noise pollution. Hearing damage. So noise can cause temporary or permanent hearing loss. Temporary or permanent hearing loss. It depends on intensity and duration of sound level. And here we can see the noise level over 90 decibels. And that we cannot hear over 90 decibels. That leads to the hearing problems. We can see in this in this diagram, we can observe. So noise of 70 decibels for 8 hours can cause hearing issues. Noise above 100 decibels for even half an hour can cause hearing issues. Loud noise above 120 decibels can cause immediate harm to your ears. So a whisper sound will be, if we are whispering, 30 decibels it will be. Normal conversation when we are talking with others, 60 decibels. City traffic will be 80 to 85 decibels. And a motorcycle will be 95 decibels. And firecrackers will be, it is more 140 decibels. So how human being is affected? How we are affecting by noise pollution is physiological and psychological changes will be there. Continuous exposure to noise affects the functioning of it means it is affecting the functioning of various systems of the body. So it may result in hypertension. We may get BP, low BP, high BP, hypertension, and sleeplessness. We won't get to sleep. Gastrointestinal problems. We will get gas problems, and digestive disorders. And we are getting ulcers in the stomach and changing the blood pressure levels, and our behavior also it is changing. Behavioral changes and emotional changes. We will get angry. Okay, emotional changes. All these changes are there here in human beings because of noise pollution. So in the diagram we can see very clearly. So we can observe here what we are getting. Sleep disorders. Okay. Nervousness, and next we can see here it is affecting here some due to some we are getting stress. Okay, and here digestive problems we are getting, and heart problems also we are getting. Heart problems means changing the blood pressure levels, and deafness means hearing problems will get. All these effects are there because of the noise pollution. Industrial noise is the which is created by the machines and process in the industries. So when we go to the industries and we can observe, we get a lot of noise when they are doing welding and machining. Okay, in mechanical industries, any industries if we go, we get a lot of sound. In industries. So it is of concern as it threatens safety and health of the industrial workers and common people in the industrial environment. Then who is affecting with that noise means those who are working in industries and those who are living nearby that industries. So the noise level more than 85 decibels can cause hearing impairment, and such industrial environment is not a healthy environment for the workers. So that is leading to the hearing loss, and here that also already observed the workers who is working in industries. For example, we can take iron and steel industry, and shipbuilding and railway ads. So in this diagram, we can see how they are doing the machining work, how they are doing. So due to that, we are getting the noise pollution, and people are affected. by exposing to the that means when they are hearing that loud sound, so their health is affected. So besides hearing loss, other occupational health hazards, what we are getting already, we discussed that high blood pressure, headache, and we are getting stomach ulcers, anxiety, depression, anions. Okay, all these we are getting stress. Okay, all these we are getting because of the noise pollution. And Central Pollution Control Board Committee has recommended permissible noise levels for different locations. We can see the locations here. Industrial area, daytime 75 decibels, nighttime 70 decibels. Commercial area 65 decibels, daytime, nighttime 55 decibels. Residential area, so daytime 55 decibels, nighttime 45 decibels. Silence zone, so daytime 50 decibels, nighttime 40 decibels. So according to here Central Pollution Control Board Committee, so they have recommended that the noise should not be there more than this in different areas. In this diagram we can see here a quiet room. When we are sitting in the quiet room, the noise will be 30 decibels. It will be 30 decibels. And when light traffic is there on the road, so there will be 50 decibels. And busy street, busy street, when we go to busy streets, 60 decibels. And a motor means when we go on the road, transportation, so vehicles, 70 decibels. And busy crossroad, where the traffic will be there, busy crossroads, 80 decibels. And we can take car horn, car horn, so 110 decibels. Aircraft, it will be 120 decibels. Extremely loud. And in this diagram also we can see common outdoor sound levels and common indoor sound levels, and how sound levels are there in decibels. For example, when we are taking vacuum cleaner, sound will be 70 decibels. And here we can take car horn, above 110 decibels. And noise, urban area 80 decibels. So these are different, we can see according to common outdoor sound levels and indoor sound levels, that decibel sound. And here when we take Hyderabad, when we take in different areas in the Hyderabad, how sound levels will be there means, if we take Panchayakutta, the sound level will be 77 decibels, Habits 74 decibels, Sanath Nagar 73 decibels, JNTU here it will be around 70 decibels, and Paradise 69 decibels, and we can take Gachbauli 62 decibels, and Tarnaka 61 decibels. So we are taking Nehru Zoo Park 57 decibels. So taking different areas, so we can see the sound, where we can get the more sound in the city, and how the people are affecting by this noise pollution. And how to control the noise pollution? Reduction in source of noise. Sources of noise pollution like heavy vehicles and old vehicles. We should not use the old vehicles. If we are using old vehicles, we are getting more sound. Old vehicles, it may not be allowed to ply in the populated areas. And machine noise can be produced by proper machine design. So the machine design should be, so we have to design in such a way we should not get a loud sound. So we have to go for modification of machines, changes in the shape or using different material. So noise making machines should be kept in containers with the sound absorbing media. So that should absorb the sound. So then we won't get the noise pollution. So the noise path will be interrupted and will not reach the workers. So the workers who is working in the industries, so they won't get more noise, and their health will be not affected. So all these are here, we can follow the control, how to control the noise pollution. And here standards. So heavy machines transmit vibrations to the hard surface in touch, which is in turn, it will radiate noise. So this type of secondary noise can be reduced by providing parts of suitable material. So we can provide the material like a rubber or cork. We can take that materials to absorb or reduce the noise transmission. So high frequency noise which get reflected like a beam of light or heat can be reduced by providing sound absorbing barriers or shields, and we can prevent the noise source, means we can prevent the noise pollution. We can prevent the noise pollution. And also we can use the materials absorbance, means we can use the fibers, glass bowl we can use, and sound absorbing materials which can absorb up to 90% of sound energy falling on them, and we can control here noise pollution. And here ceilings and walls may be provided with the layers of such sound absorbing materials to reduce workplace noise. So walls, ceilings, so everything should be provided with the layers of with layers like the material which can absorb the sound, so that in that workplace there won't be more noise. So the workers may be developed in noise environment with the maximum permissible noise levels and relatively quieter areas in shift, so that the time of exposure to the high noise level does not exceed that recommended by the Occupational Safety and Health Act. So we have to see that the people should not affected by noise pollution. So the area also they have to select in that way, quieter places they have to select. And workers may be provided with the ear protectors to reduce noise reaching the eardrums. So we have to provide them for the industrial workers. We have to provide ear protectors so that their eardrum it won't be affected. So all these here we have to follow to control the noise pollution. And thorough law, there should be some rules should be come. Okay, the people have to follow the rules. Okay, thorough law legislation can ensure that sound production is minimized at various social functions. Unnecessary horn blowing should be restricted, especially in vehicle congested areas. There should not be more loud sound in social functions. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.